William Shatner's troubling behavior online is hardly new, but the actor recently caught the attention of Twitter at large when he used the ad hominem attack language of the alt-right in response to a fan. The fan was trying to remind him that he was part of an extremely progressive television show in the 60s that would have been lambasted by the anti-ish crowd, had they been around then and had 4chan. William Shatner should probably log off for a while. Kirk got redpilled. https://t.costa4jazak, Chris Person at Pop-Up Issue July 31, 2017. And this is your failure of logic. SJWs stand for inequality, where they are superior to anyone else, hence my use of misandry and snowflake. https://t.co8ubgufm78. William Shatner at William Shatner July 31, 2017. Just remember that the same people that throw around the SJW stuff today would have been calling for Gene's head when you kiss Nichelle, Charm City Chap at Biamora Baker 42 July 31, 2017. Although Shatner, who is 86 years old, claims in his bio to not be political, he seems to go out of his way to engage and antagonize on Twitter, while simultaneously claiming that he is a victim and blocking users including the Mary Sue. Arguments and blocking are well within his rights, but Shatner, who holds an important pop culture legacy for playing the original Captain James T. Kirk in Star Trek, doesn't seem to know or care that he is employing the dismissive vocabulary and outright lies of the alt-right as he derides social justice warriors, snowflakes, and cries misandry when people, especially female people, disagree with him. pic.twitter.com at 52 Junior Juki, Kate at Kira. Zurich, July 31, 2017. It's disconcerting to witness an 86-year-old man you grew up adoring insult teenage shippers on the internet because he can't seem to wrap his mind around their motivation and doesn't feel like trying. It's even worse and weirder when he doesn't seem able to recognize that he was part of a trailblazing media phenomenon that was and continues to be under fire by the anti-mentality that he aligns himself with. It's a strange time to be alive. Here at the Mary Sue, we've covered Shatner's antics in depth before. In what feels like a badge of honor at this point, he's blocked the official Mary Sue Twitter account. He's been decrying social justice warriors since at least 2016, and, like many of the alt-righters whose philosophy he is espousing, appears to enjoy responding with strawman attacks about misandry and snowflakes while refusing to engage with the real issues and people at hand. It would be ironic that someone who rails against snowflakes is also so thin-skinned and unable to grapple with the nuances of ideas and changing cultural norms, but this is also, by now, an expected pattern from red pillars and their ilk. Shatner doesn't just dismiss and lash out at younger fan groups, though he does spend a disturbing amount of time doing that. After several prominent genre authors came out against Shatner's behavior, he wondered if it was an organized campaign of harassment on the part of Star Wars-oriented writers because they hate Star Trek or something. Which would be hilarious if it wasn't so sad and infuriating. Wonder if at Walt Disney Co. at Star Wars knows about their book authors banding together to harass. Funny there's a bio pattern. Star Wars pic.twitter.com Yubin 8 Kyuxer, William Shatner at William Shatner July 26, 2017. Last night, a greater portion of Twitter than usually pays attention to Shatner's squabbles caught wind of what was happening, and the responses were quite glorious. People would stand for his language, or his dismissal of the very real social justice space the original Star Trek carved out. Live long accuse powerless PPL of being superior as they continue the fight for human rights. You're a class act snowflake. https://t.copa7rqb7umex, Orlando Jones at the Orlando Hones July 31, 2017. Between dictionary definitions of social justice warrior Gene Roddenberry quotes, it appears that Roddenberry was a social justice warrior. pic.twitter.com AF2 Bike, Robin Pierce at Wild Moon Sister July 31, 2017. William, I'm a little boy who is 7 years old and I love you space show. TWI Tout Howers Good Boy at Twitter's Good Boy July 31, 2017. Why is a 90-year-old man tweeting about SJWs? He should be talking about Jackie Gleason and how good root beer used to taste. Matt Chrisman at Cushbomb July 31, 2017. Of all the souls I have encountered in my travels, his was the most cucked. Hedonic treadmill at Hedonic Runner July 31, 2017. pic.twitter.com Manufam3N1, Carl Will Hoyt at Carl Will Hoyt July 31, 2017. pic.twitter.com Gazoo3S, Sukatra at Sukatra July 31, 2017. William Shatner going fascist is probably probably the least surprising thing of 2017 TBH, Matt Novak at Palea Future July 31, 2017 pic.twitter.com 9huck9cav Christopher Sabella at xtop July 31, 2017 Why is it that SJWs think they can align themselves with those that demanded social reform in the 60s? https://t.co6 Krivzagulg William Shatner at William Shatner July 31, 2017 No wonder Nimoy would NT talk to you before he died. Blue Herring at Blue Herring 32 July 31, 2017 If today's anti-Sh crowd had been around in the 60s, they'd have boycotted Trek for having a multinational crew and an interracial kiss. Tatwander at Fuzz Invasion July 31, 2017 Twitter Bingo Announcer OK, who had William Shatner as alt right now I signed rip up a card reading Betty White joins the YPG. Kali at Jam Kali July 31, 2017 I could go on with these fabulous responses forever, because Twitter really took Shatner to task. Unfortunately, it probably won't make a difference. Shatner is so entrenched in his skewed ideology. He'll likely view this avalanche of criticism as further evidence that the SJWs are just frothing at the mouth and, I don't know, summoning our demon armies to go after him. He's already spent the last several hours responding to people with eye-rolling emojis and retweeting messages of support. It's pretty clear nothing at this point will deflect Shatner from his warp 10-speed course toward becoming one of the most disappointing famous voices on the internet. Of course, actors are not their characters. William Shatner simply played James T. Kirk on TV and in the movies. But that character, and by extension, the man whose face he wore, means something to a whole lot of us. So while it would be unreasonable to expect Shatner to be Kirk-like, it's not unreasonable to expect a beloved veteran actor not to attack and disparage his fans. Instead, he appears to relish the fights, perhaps the only Kirk-like thing about him, and enjoy the attention he generates by upsetting people. This is the behavior of a troll. It should be beneath Shatner, but I suppose he's not receiving much attention otherwise. You, sir, are no kind of space grandpa that anyone would want to claim, as far I cry away from Leonard Nimoy as can be imagined. In reaction to Nimoy's death, choking back tears, I wrote he was much more than Spock. He was a vibrant, hugely productive artist, a poet and a director and a music maker and a sensitive photographer of non-traditional subjects. On Twitter he was winking and wise and warm. He was the kind of grandpa kids dream about having, and adults too. Maybe that's Shatner's hang-up. He'll never be more than Kirk, and he's known and mocked for his acting style. In the same breath, he's contributed nothing substantial to the world beyond playing a character whose ideals he now appears to be in direct opposition with. His last gasp of relevancy is trolling kids on Twitter who joyfully live in a more socially progressive time than his retrograde brain can process. As someone who deeply loves Captain Kirk, Shatner's behavior makes me angry and sad. And while part of me wants to give him the benefit of the doubt of his advanced age, Shatner has been told thousands of times now where he's in the wrong. Instead, he's absorbed the value sets of the worst sort of people, and he seems content to remain an old man yelling at a dickeronium cloud creature while the rest of us beam on up. Image Christopher Sabella on Twitter. Want more stories like this? Become a subscriber and support the site. The Mary Sue has a strict comment policy that forbids, but is not limited to, personal insults toward anyone, hate speech, and trolling. Media. The Mary Sue Runway Read Law News Gossip Cop.